There are 10 new locally acquired cases of coronavirus in this morning's numbers. All of those cases are linked to current outbreaks, and all of those cases were isolating during their infectious period. That is another 0 day in terms of those out in the community whilst infectious. That's a fantastic result. I want to thank all the public health team, contact tracers, the whole team who have done an amazing job, worked very, very hard to not only run alongside and keep pace with this outbreak, but to get out in front of it. And it's because of their hard work that we're able to make some significant announcements today. It's also because of the hard work of every single Victorian, following the rules, getting tested when you've got even the mildest of symptoms, playing your part to keep your family safe and every family safe, and for us to get through this. We see what's happening in other parts of the country. We certainly know what's happening in other parts of the world. That's how important this work is. It's taxing. It's a pain. It's difficult. It's very, very challenging. But it's the only thing that works against this virus. So I'm deeply grateful to every single Victorian who's done the right thing, and I particularly give a shout out to those thousands and thousands of close contacts, many of whom are still at home in their 14 days of ISO. It is incredibly important that you get a day 13 test and that you wait until you are cleared by the Department of Health. You can't clear yourself. You can't self-determine that you are fit, healthy, well, and it's over. You must be cleared by the Department of Health. We are so grateful to you. There are penalties if people do the wrong thing. I don't think it's going to come to that, because these tens of thousands of Victorians have just been amazing when it comes to doing their time at home, staying away from others and keeping others safe. I'm sure the Chief Health Officer and Jerome will echo those sentiments. It's very, very important that those thousands and thousands of people who are yet to get to day 14, yet to get their day 13 negative test result, and yet to be cleared by the department, you can't just make that judgment yourself. We'll get to you as fast as we can, as quickly as we can, and we're deeply grateful to you for all that you have and will continue to do. Now, in terms of where we are today, we're able to make decisions and confirm those decisions this morning. Cabinet's been briefed on advice from the Chief Health Officer from 11:59 p.m. tonight. There will be significant changes. Essentially, we come out of this lockdown. The 5 reasons to leave home, that's gone. The 10-kilometre limit, that's gone. 5-kilometre limit, sorry, that's gone. 2 hours, all of those rules are gone. To give you a sense, 5 reasons, that no longer applies. Schools will open for all year levels from tomorrow morning. There are, however, no visitors allowed to your home. We understand that will be challenging for people who've not seen family and friends for a couple of weeks now, and many for longer periods than that, but we know that this is where transmission occurs. So there's a lot of good news in today's announcements. That's, I know, not the news people want to hear, but it is incredibly important that we regard the home as what it is. It is, in many respects, from a transmission of this virus point of view, the highest risk environment. So no visitors to your home for the next 2 weeks. If we can change at that point, obviously we will, but the advice is we have to continue to regard those environments as high risk. Pubs, restaurants, cafes, bars, they will open. 100 inside, 300 outside, a density quotient of 1 person per 4 square metres. Gyms will be open with a similar density quotient. Community sport is back on for practice, for competition, for kids and for adults. The accommodation settings, for the purposes of your stay, it is your home. So the same rules apply as if you were at your home. You can't be going away with other families. You can't be having visitors to your temporary home. The accommodation that you might seek to use over the next couple of weeks. So if you're going away, that's fine, but it's got to be your family unit, and the rules apply as if you were in your family home. No visitors, no shared holidays. In terms of other matters, public gatherings, they will be limited to 10 people. Funerals and weddings will be limited to 50 people, not including those who are intrinsic to the celebration of those or the conduct of those particular events. Masks will remain inside and outside and always. The Burnet Institute released some very thorough work that they had done just in relation to last year, and they attributed something like 40% of our success last year to the wearing of masks. I know it's painful, I know no one enjoys doing it, but it is effective. And that's all we have to focus on, things that work against this virus and particularly against this Delta strain. Those are the settings for 2 weeks. If they can change after 2 weeks, well then of course we'll get further advice. There'll be no crowds at the footy. no crowds at large events, theatres, all of those sorts of gatherings for at least 2 weeks. Again, I know that's not necessarily news people want to hear, but there is significant good news in here, and it has to be, and significant freedom, but we also have to be cautious. This has not gone away. It's under control, but it is obviously in our country, and to that extent, I've got some further changes to announce in relation to the borders. There are, as you know, a border bubble that exists at the moment where there is a freedom of movement without a permit. I'm announcing from 11:59 p.m. tonight the following New South Wales local government areas will no longer be in that bubble. The municipalities of Wagga Wagga, Hay, Lockhart and Murrumbidgee, they will no longer be in the bubble, and if you want to travel to Victoria from those 4 local government areas you would need a permit, and as you know, we're only granting permits for those who are approved workers, and even only then when it is absolutely necessary. I take no pleasure in having to essentially lock out those 4 communities from Victoria, but there's a refusal to lock people in Sydney into Sydney, so therefore I have no choice but to make these changes. I'll also foreshadow with you that there will be further border changes. I'm not in a position to announce those today, but I'll announce those as soon as we can. We have to do everything we can to keep this virus out of our state, and it's obviously regrettable that we've had to do that all the way down at the Murray, but we'll do what we can. I can't control the settings in capital cities other than our own, but these are the rules and these are the changes that we have made. Just finally, in terms of offices, 25% back to the office. If you can work from home, then you should. We would ask that you work from home in the interest of just every precaution to keep us safe. Again, that won't be news that everybody supports, but they are the rules, and that's where we get to. We are in no way triumphant, in no way boastful. We are grateful for the work that so many have done, and indeed that all Victorians have done. But the significance of this today, to be able to end this lockdown at midnight tonight and return to settings that are quite close to the settings before we went into this lockdown, says to all Victorians, sends a very clear message that we have seen off 2 Delta outbreaks. I don't think there's a jurisdiction in the world that has been able to achieve that, and every Victorian should be proud of that. Every member of the public health team should know that we as Victorians are grateful to them, but at the same time we have to remain vigilant. Today's a good day, a good positive day, but there's a lot of work that still has to be done. Please wear your mask when you're supposed to be wearing your mask. Please get tested whenever you've got even the mildest of symptoms. Please don't go and visit mum and dad at their place. No one will know, you know, we're desperate to see them. We'll just sneak in, it'll be okay. No, it won't. That's how this virus spreads. So we all have a part to play, and we all have to be vigilant. We all have to be, I think, proud of the work that others have done, but we can't be triumphant about this. There's no sense of boasting. This is with us still, and we have to be vigilant against it. But it's a very important day and a very positive day to be able to end this lockdown at 11:59 p.m. tonight as we forecast. And thanks to everyone who's played their part, every single Victorian, and indeed the public health team, our contact tracers and others have done a great job. Just finally, before I ask Jerome to speak to outbreaks and cases, and then the Chief Health Officer might want to speak to the settings as well, just finally, can I again both thank but also appeal to those thousands of Victorians who are still in ISO at home, away from others, to protect others and to protect everyone. You can't clear yourself. You have to get your negative test, and you must be cleared by the Department of Health. We will get to you as fast as we possibly can. It's not a few people, it's many thousands, and I'm sure that you would appreciate that it does take some time. But my message to you is thank you so much for what you've done and are doing, but please do not make your own judgment that your quarantine has ended. That is a judgment that must be made formally, and it must be made on the basis of a negative test. And we have had people who have tested negative early on and then tested positive in their day 13 test. It has happened. In fact, very recently, overnight, we've had a couple of those cases. So it's very important that that formal clearance process is gone through. What's more, for those who have travelled here on a permit from a red zone, you're obliged to follow the rules also. And we would thank you for doing that, but also appeal to you in the interest of every single Victorian to keep doing that important work. Those rules are there for a reason. You're in ISO for a reason. You've come from somewhere that is extreme risk, and we need to guard against you potentially unwittingly infecting other people. All in all, this is a good day, and I'm deeply grateful to every Victorian for making it possible, and I'm deeply grateful for every member of the public health team and their excellent work. Not over though. We've got to be vigilant against this virus, particularly this Delta strain, in the days, the weeks and the months ahead until we get as many people vaccinated as we possibly can. That is some time away.